What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Angery Nation Podcast with your favorite Angery American. Tonight's a little different show. We got a couple guests on. Obviously, we have the illustrious Sue LaRue. You look like you're going on vacation, Sue. Like you just got off a cruise or something.
I'm just coming back from Virgin Islands. Yeah, I was in the
See,
Virgin Islands.
I nailed it. I could tell. I could tell by looking at you.
There's an island full of virgins?
No.
They're not, they're not virgins anymore.
But after he left.
Yeah, those guys will never be the same. But tonight, guys, we've got my good buddy on here. I only call him Boom, but his real name is Rob Boom, Mr. Bidet Butler.
That's me.
That's him right there. Boom's a good buddy of mine. He's a vet. He's an Iraq vet. He was a drill instructor. Sergeant. I forgot what we're dealing with here.
I'm not gay.
And
he's a man after my own heart. He was a sniper instructor down the Bravo 4 course.
There we go. Yeah, go on, Boom. Give folks a little bit of your bona fides here of who you are, what you've done, where you've been, and the T-shirts you don't have for
it. I joined the military at 31 years old after 9/11 happened, and I was a loan officer for a mortgage company in Independence, Missouri, so it was quite a change. But I was only going to do it for probably 4 years and get out. But I got there. I ended up going to the first squad designated marksman school that they've had since Vietnam, and I passed that. And then I went to sniper school, and I graduated from that. And then I did 2 tours over in Iraq. I spent a total of almost 2.5 years there. I ended up being a platoon sergeant there in combat before my return from my second tour. I went to my first tour, and of course I lied to my parents and everybody at home saying, "Hey, nothing's happening here," and our platoon lost about 33%. It was either killed or wounded. And it was really bad. So when I got home, I thought I was getting out, and I had a video, and I showed them video. I said, "Here's what it was really like." And my father literally actually stood up and cried and walked out of the room. And so after that, I got told I was getting stop lost, and right before Christmas. And when I went home for Christmas, I had to tell them I was getting stop lost and sent back a second time. And so I waited till the day after Christmas to tell my family, and it was a really difficult situation. And I went back the second time. The year's ending. I'm like, awesome, I'm going to make it, because we lost a lot of dudes the second time too. And I was like, all right. And then the colonel flies in and says, "Hey, you guys are going to stay longer." So I went during the surge. It was really a crazy time. I got my body got tore up pretty bad in everything there. I completely crushed 2 discs in the bottom of my back. During my career, I cracked my femur, torn meniscus in both knees, stress fractures in both feet. My right ankle's fake; it's a bone graft. Broke my big toe, broke my left arm in 4 places, broke some ribs, tore all the ligaments in my thumb, just all sorts of stuff. So my neck's all messed up real bad.
Don't forget your elbow.
Yeah. But
don't forget all this right here. It got jacked.
I went through the windshield of every vehicle I've ever ridden in. So that's how this happened.
He gets out Dukes of Hazzard style through the windshield.
Yeah, so I did the first half of my career in active duty, and then I went to the reserves, and I became a drill sergeant, where Larosa was in my drill sergeant unit. He helped me to get my medical retirement, but while I was in the reserves, I got my firearms instructor license in Florida. I got my private investigator license. I went to ESI, which is one of the top executive protection schools in the country, out in Colorado, and I did a 30-day residential program there. And then I've protected a lot of different people, rich people, got to travel, go to different places. But now I drive an Uber and a Lyft, and that's what I do now. I do go to North Carolina and help SUT and Robin Sage, help with the students there with their training, which is just it's such an honor for me to be able to do that and be able to help with anything I can to guide these young men and what they're about to face. And I love doing that.
Not to mention it's so much fun, but it's a suck fest. But it's so much fun.
And I was actually on a protection detail in Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria, and I was there for 3 months. And that's where when I got there, I was roommates with Alan Kay, which is a very good friend of Chris's. And when we were there, while everybody else went out after work, me and Alan would just go back to the room and talk and drink some scotch or whatever. And we became very, very close. And he said, I got a man that you got to meet when we get back. And he said, I have a survival training class that I'm going to do that's like 4 days long. And I said, well, I don't got the money for that. And he's like, hey, you ain't paying nothing. And he took me there and he introduced me to Chris. And Chris has written many books that are awesome on survival. And I had read his first one and told him I really enjoyed it. So he gave me a signed copy. And inside he said, I don't believe in chance meetings. Like, there's a reason why you and I met, and we're going to be together forever. And we have absolutely been together forever. Chris has always been there for me, always supported me. Thank you so much for letting us come on tonight, because this is a super duper important subject, and it's really fantastic. And just in case you guys don't know, when you're looking at the screen in that top left side where it says sign petition, if you use your phone, it'll take you exactly to the page where it's super easy to fill out, and you'll hear all about it. But I appreciate everyone on here. I appreciate the time. That's me.
That's my boy right there. Alan introduced me to Boom. He's like, I got a guy. He goes, he's kind of going through a rough patch, just got out, and boom, there he is. Boom. and he goes, he could use some dirt time and stuff. He goes, and I want you to meet him. I was like, fuck it, yeah, bring him. And Alan, before you came, he's like, and he's solid people. He's a good dude. And I'm like, that's all I need to hear. So as soon as I met him, I was just like, I know you.
Yeah,
and it clicked. And
I brought my son to your house, and we taught him to shoot on your range. And
I wouldn't call what we did to him teaching him to shoot.
It was fun.
It was fun for us. But all right. But since you brought up the petition, Larosa in the bottom right hand corner down here. I don't know what you're weighing in. I was going to do like the whole ring announcer thing. Never mind. Let's let everybody know who you are, man, and what you're doing here, and then let's get into the meat and potatoes of what we're here to talk about, which is important.
I'm Dennis Larosa. I served in the Army. I'm an Army vet. Did a tour in Iraq, which was crazy because I'm admin, 100% 42 Alpha. And I got thrown into it as soon as I got to Iraq. LTF 548 10th Mountain. Hey, we need a Mark 19 gunner. Put that admin person on the Mark 19. Well, guess what? I got my combat experience. I got my tour. I enjoyed it. I came back, and advocacy for veterans was something that touched me really hard, because I would hear stories from Vietnam vets, Desert Storm vets, and even our current veterans, right? And nobody knew what to do. Everybody was lost. And a lot of them were, active duty Marines, Navy, Army. It didn't matter what service you were in. They were kind of lost. They were thrown into the process at the VA and didn't know what to do. So since I got back, I would advocate for them. I would research for them. I would sit them down. And the one thing I tell every service member is keep a copy of everything. Doesn't matter what it is. Keep a copy of it, because they will expect for you to provide it, not for them to give it to you. So once you get out, you're kind of on your own. Yep. Through my military service, I did get injured while I was in Iraq, and I pushed it through. Something that Rob always taught me: suck it up and drive on. Right, Rob? Yeah. So I continued in my service until it was no more. I went to RTC West, which is the training center for reservists and National Guardsmen, to train before they went to Iraq and Afghanistan. I did a tour there, came back, and went to a great drill sergeant unit, 2nd 321st Regiment. Yep, there we go. I met Rob there, and his case was a case that I took on. It was kind of complicated, but why not do it? Why not do the research and help a veteran who is hurt, But if we don't help each other, who's going to help us, right? I did retire with 15 years of service, which I'm going to go into a little bit into the show. I now actually work for the Army as a civilian administrator, and on my side, on my own, I do advocate for veterans.
I'd like to ask real quick. He's being a little bit humble.
He tried to keep it back.
He not only did he help me, and then we became very, very close. Larosa's my brother. I love him to death. I give him anything. But because he helped me so much, I have a lot of friends, obviously, that I went to combat with and stuff that were really struggling with getting their disability and stuff like that. So I said, listen, give Larosa a call. I said, tell him I told you to call. He's my brother. He'll take care of you. And like, I have friends that literally cry when we talk about Larosa, because when they were going through the DAV and they were going through the VA and they were going through all of this, it just went on and on and on and on. And I said, look, call him. And they would call him, and like, he laser focuses on it. He truly deeply cares. And he has never let me down, or any of my buddies that I've sent him down. He does it because he loves it, and he loves his country, he loves soldiers so much. And he's just an incredible, amazing person. And I love him dearly. And there's a lot of vets out there that owe him a lot. And we thank him from the bottom of our hearts.
I love you too, brother.
Well, I appreciate the advocates as well, because my dad passed away a couple of years ago. He was a Vietnam vet, and he had a 10% disability. He was a door gunner for the 101st Airborne on a Loach, shot down 3 times. You know, he deserved everything that was owed to him. And it took 2 years, I think it was, after he passed, of my mom fighting, me helping her, and she finally found an advocate that helped her push it through and get it. And so she got all of his everything that was coming to her, you know. So TRICARE, I mean, she got it all. Which my dad would not go to the VA when he was alive.
Yeah.
He saw this charity. And I'm like, Dad, it's not charity, man. You earned it. You know, I mean, he spent 2 tours over there. And but it took 2 years of us fighting to get that, and it wasn't until we got an advocate. Sadly, I didn't know you back then, Larosa. I'd have been hollering at you, man. But we finally did get it done, and so my mom gets all the benefits that she's owed. So that's fantastic.
He literally changes lives. Like, literally.
Yeah. Oh, it does for these people. Yeah.
There's a lot of bureaucracy. You just have to read through a lot of it. And if you don't read through it, it's going to be hard. Like, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misinformation out there. And you just have to sit down and take your time. That's all it is.
My buddy Pearson, I think, is watching this right now. And he calls Larosa
Pearson.
He's like, he's a wizard. He sent him a big bottle of good whiskey and was like, thank you so much, because he helped him out.
He's a wizard.
Yeah,
that's all. See, like you said, knowing the game, knowing how the game's played and how to play the game is what matters more than anything. Because I know guys have 100% disability because they like saw a plane crash, and when I hear shit like that, I'm like, all right, I get it, but it makes me furious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody who got it because she said she was on a fob where she knew she met some soldiers there that when they went outside the wire, some of them died. Like, she didn't see it. She didn't, nothing. Like,
I made that criteria. I mean, I was 27 years, 8 months in the military, right? So, and my last 8 years was acquisition. So, like Larosa, I know how to play the game, and I've done a lot of research on this. I did 2.5 hours today. I'll get my little spiel in, but I'm absolutely embarrassed because I have 100% disability. I can park my F-250. I just did it today at Tractor Supply in the handicap parking right up front. But every time I do it, I get out and act like I have a prosthesis and I limp into the store.
Yeah.
But I never got a scratch. I was too quick. I didn't get a Purple Heart. I never got a scratch, anything like that. So I'd like, Robert, if you would, explain what this whole show is about tonight, because I just love this.
Me too.
It's called the Major Richard Starr Act. I want you to go through it for everybody, because this is right down my alley. I've done the math, and when you and Larosa get through, I'm going to do a comparison for all of our listeners, and I'm going to throw some numbers out there that should piss everybody off. For these combat veterans, there's 56,000. I use the number 60,000. And guys, if I don't care if the kid showed up and tripped over his shoelaces going to a porta potty in combat, these people that had the balls to do this, I respect every one of you guys who joined after 9/11 because you knew exactly where you were going. You didn't join for the medical benefits or for the educational benefits. After 9/11, all those kids knew exactly what was going to happen to them, and they still joined, and they still went, they still served. So if they got hurt tripping over their shoelaces, going to the porta potty, they deserve what's due to them. And I appreciate guys like Larosa. But anyway, I'm getting on my soapbox. Please explain what the Richard Starr Act is for everybody.
So Larosa was actually the one that had told me about it, and it's been up in the House since 2019. And the funny thing is when we researched it back in 2019, it has huge bipartisan support. Like both sides, Democrats and Republicans, both signed on and said, yeah, let's do this. And then we went through this giant bill during COVID that funds like transgender studies in Pakistan, but they couldn't add this to the bill. But now I'm on my soapbox. Yeah, you got me boiled up, man. But so basically what it is so right now I could either get my retirement or I could get my VA disability. I can't have them both. And so you pick whichever one is the most, and then you can't have the other one. And here's what's funny. I was actually talking to Russ about this. While I was waiting for my medical retirement, I was getting my disability. And because everybody before Larosa was screwing my medical retirement up and I couldn't get out, I went for drill for like 3 years for free. And I wasn't allowed to train or do anything because of my injuries. And so I would go bring my laptop and watch movies at drill because they said I had to do it for free because if I get paid for drill and I get disability from the VA, I can't have those.
Yeah, you can't have both payments.
Yeah, and here's what's crazy though. So when I got my 100% disability and they were going to approve my medical retirement, I said, well, the VA already approved me at 100%. And they said, well, the VA has nothing to do with the military. We're two separate things. And I'm like, but I can't get paid from you both. So it's insane. And actually back in 2002, Congress did pass a law for active duty soldiers because they had the same thing back then, and they passed it for them so that they could get both.
CRDP.
Yeah, get your retirement and your disability. So what this bill would do is for those soldiers like us, I mean, me and Denny will be all right. We're going to make it okay. We're not going to not eat, but the money could definitely help me. But there are veterans out there that desperately need it. And if your injuries like mine are combat, from line of duty and combat, you have to wait till you're 58 years old before you get both. And if you got hurt in the garrison, you have to wait till you're 62 years old to get both. But if I joined at 18 and I put 20 years in and I got out, I get both for doing 20 years. Well, I got medically retired at 15 and a half years. Larosa got medically retired at 15 years. So we are 5 years short. So now we got to wait till we're 58 years old to get this money. And some of these young men are coming back, lost a foot, lost a hand, and they can't have both money. And then we got, now I was actually a little pleased with this. I was looking at the stats last night. It was 22 veterans a day. Now it's 17.6. So that's committing suicide a day. So that's good. We're going in the right direction. But if these people got this extra money, if they could get their retirement and their disability at the same time, how many lives will we save? Because listen, when we get home, I'm going to try not to get all sentimental here, but when you're in the military and you're over there and you're fighting and you belong to something way bigger than you, and you have a team and you have your brothers with you, man, and you're kicking in doors and you're watching them die and you're doing things you have to do. When you get home and you have to get out, like nobody wants to get out. That's our life. That's who we are. And so when you're forced to get out because of your injuries and then you don't have a team anymore, you're alone. You don't have people with you. You feel alienated from everyone around you because what are you going to talk to them about? They tell you, I went and saw a movie last night. And you're like, I killed a kid last week or something, And so it's hard and you lose part of yourself. And then when you can't get a good job or you can't support your family, and you went from being this thing up here to just a piece of garbage in your own eyes, it hurts, man. And if that money could save lives, and and all it is 10% of 1% of the whole DOD's budget. It's not going to cost a whole bunch more. There's already over 1 million active duty people getting this pay. There's only like 57,000 of us, or 56,000, that if we pass this bill, 56,000 of us, that's it. We'll get their retirement that they earned and their disability that they earned. And that's what this does. If you guys scan that code, you sign the petition, it goes to your congressman, because 2019 to now, come on, this is too long. And
yeah, it keeps getting pushed. They push it. Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this isn't a whole lot of money for these guys either. When you really look at it.
Well, what it depends on, and Larosa,
$1,200 a month. And here's the numbers I got. And Larosa, you correct me if I made a mistake here. But I did a couple hours of research today. Like Larosa said, you just got to know where to go and where to look. I learned that in my staff. I was forced to do staff time because I called a civilian a wrong name. But anyway, so $1,200 a month for these kids that have to retire early. That's all.
Yep.
That's all.
Give or take between $1,200 to $1,400.
Okay, so that's 14,000. Now what I like to do is I tell my sons, always take whatever you pay, your cell phone, whatever, and do an annual budget of it. So it's a big difference when you're talking about $14,400 a year for these guys. That's a huge jump in what they're doing, right? And you're right. It would prevent a lot of suicides. It would prevent a lot of depression and things like that. They'd have a little bit of money to pay their bills. And they're saying in the Richard Starr Act that over 10 years, 0.1% of the defense budget, 0.1%, $8 billion. Okay. I did 60,000. It's really 54,000, but I put 60,000 in there because I know guys like Larosa find other guys that haven't got their claim approved yet. So over 10 years, or it's $864 million a year over 10 years, $8.64 billion. Okay. Now let's put that in perspective a little bit. Okay. Just like you're talking about getting on your soapbox, I did the budget for, and all that came up was 2022. So this is after you and Larosa's already started on this, right? $74 billion went to foreign aid, right? We gave $16.6 billion to Ukraine, $3.3 billion to Israel, which I don't mind, but then we give $2.2 billion to Ethiopia, $1.4 billion to Afghanistan, an enemy that has the Taliban in it. We gave $1.4 billion to Yemen. Isn't that where the Houthis are at? All right. And then we give $5 billion to Sudan and $97 million to Somalia just last year. All right. Now think about that. Put that in perspective. Those are all of our enemies, and we're not taking care of our kids that went and served for us.
And let me add this.
Pisses me off.
Let me add this to it. And real quick, my sister Debbie put a heart on in the chat. So Debbie Butler, that's my sister. Love you. But not only that money, how much money did we spend on 2 wars that were for nothing? All of our friends died for nothing. We got hurt for zero. For 20 years, we fought and got hurt for nothing. We left, and it's exactly the same it was. And how much money did we spend on those wars? And now,
you know what that money was spent for. Just look at Raytheon stock and General Dynamics, and that's what that money was spent for.
Yeah, and we can't have.
That's what you went to war for.
Chunk of change, like, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, they can't even give a nickel to these kids that actually served. And granted, they don't have 20 years in, or the only reason I did 27 years is because I was too stupid to get out, but
I will still be in. I will keep on pushing, but my spine did not let me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and let's I came up with some more numbers too. This is really an easy fix. And for all these guys that beat their chest and say, "Oh, we're part of the Department of Defense and everything," we don't have to look at other agencies to fix this. Okay, I've got the solution right here, and if you tell me how I can help, and not just sign a petition, I'll get up and I'll sit in front of the Secretary of Defense. I know the man personally, but I mean, for example, Bureau of Indian Affairs every year gets $2.9 billion for their actual wards of the state, been wards of the state since March 3rd, 1873. So that's all the indigenous people that live on reservations. They get $2.9 billion a year, right? Now, we all know what the defense budget is, close to $1 trillion a year, okay? Here's what a lot of people don't know. There are 773,000 civilians that work for the Department of Defense. That's 33.4% of the Department of Defense. 36% of the federal workforce. All right. Of those 770,000 civilian employees who never go to war, never go to basic training, never work a weekend or a holiday, or sit in a foxhole like you guys did, their average salary, anywhere from 73,000 to 136 a year, but their average salary is $97,839 per year. You know what that equates to in the defense budget for 773,000 people? $75,629,000 a year for civilians. That really irks me.
And then all the money that Musk found.
So
So how many dead people and children are getting Social Security?
Here's another fact. All these guys who don't like, what the United States is doing, and don't really care that we're spending $150 billion a year on undocumented workers here in the United States. Just in the Department of Defense, all right, out in the DC metro area, there's 61,000 civilian workers for the Department of Defense. There's 58,000 in California. I thought California doesn't like us no more, right? There's 42,000 in Maryland. Isn't Maryland all against everything, what we're doing and everything for the defense? So out of those civilian employees, all we would have to do out of 773,000, which rose since I retired in 2016 from 730,000, we would have to cut 8,830 jobs to pay for those kids to get what's due to them. That's it.
So what I gathered, so the SecDef and the VA secretary, they're actually on board. They're here. They're actually here they want to advance and they want to support the veterans and service members getting out. One of the programs I have is the BDD program for active duty service members that are getting out, is to front load their claims to the VA so that the day that they retire, the next month they have their benefits. So that's something that they're leading. I tip my hat to the VA secretary and to the SecDef. The problem is actually in these committees that are in Congress, right? Our politicians. This bill has been since 2019. And what do? They'll floor it and send it to a committee. The Military Service Committee will push it to the VA subcommittee and it'll sit there. And then 2 years later, they'll have to reintroduce it on the floor. So it's really not the secretary of none of the departments or the VA. It's our politicians. And I feel that they're dropping the ball when it comes to veterans right now. Since 2019 to now. Yeah, they've passed certain things, but this is not even a drop in the bucket. It's very minute. Why can't we pass this? So I think we need to get on our politicians. Like I said, our Secretary of Defense, Secretary of VA, they're doing an awesome job. They're trying to push this forward. They're trying to push other things forward to help our veterans. But it is our politicians. Our politicians are not doing what they're supposed to do to take care of our veterans.
And that's exactly what we need to do. Is kind of like the format I just gave to our viewers. That's what needs to be briefed to Congress, and we need to guilt them into passing this and getting it out of
absolutely
into the annual budget every year.
That's absolutely why
$14,000 a year is not much for these guys. Not much at all.
That's absolutely why it was so important for me and Larosa to get on a podcast and get out the word, not only to the people, but for you, for instance, with your connections and the people you can talk to. We're just a couple of regular soldiers, man. That's it. We don't know how to get a hold of Congress and go talk to them or do any of that kind of stuff. So if we had advocates like you that have that ability where you can go and talk to them, Like, that's what we need. We need some people getting in front of their faces and saying this stuff, because we can say it on TV all day long or a podcast. If somebody doesn't get up there and get inside Congress and say some stuff, I don't know if it'll ever change.
What was that's the whole name of the bill, and do you have the bill number too?
So you have the HR, right? I'm gonna get it for you right now. So it's the Major Richard Starr Act. You have the HR, which is the congressional one. It's HR 2102. And then you also have the Senate bill, because they're reviewing it as well, but it's in subcommittee. They put it back into a subcommittee. It's Senate Bill 1032. They're similar word for word.
Okay. I'm sending a text to the chief of staff of a Congress member, asking them what can we do to step on the gas.
Absolutely.
And also, again, I just want to say to the audience that's watching, it's really easy. Lift your phone, put the camera on that, sign the petition in the top left corner. It's already set up for you, super easy. So it comes right on the page where you just enter your name and email, and it'll send your name up automatically. Really super easy for you. Every time one of you guys do it, we get to see it on our screen that someone signed the petition. So we've had some, and I really appreciate you guys who have done that. The ones that haven't, please just it takes literally 15 seconds. It really does. And we got to get this changed for sure.
And you got to understand that these veterans, these service members who served, they were called upon and they did their job. They did their part. They served their time. And because of the injury, because of that call and the injury that they got, they were medically retired, Chapter 61, which is known as the gray area retirement. Because of that, they weren't able to do the 20 years, but they did their service to their country and they deserve that.
Yeah,
and
I can't tell you how many homeless people I've met who actually served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yep. Why are they homeless? They got Purple Hearts to prove, that they got wounded over there. Why are we letting these people live on a street? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And we pay how much money? how many $80 million to put illegal immigrants up in a luxury hotel, and we got veterans who can't get their retirement disability living on the street. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah,
are you crazy?
And this is Chris and I talked about, talk about all these this illegal money. What they do is they rob money out of all these different funds. Right,
FEMA.
to pay for these undocumented workers.
Yeah.
We just down there in Florida, northern Florida, you guys went through two huge hurricanes, one right after another. I live right here in the North Carolina Appalachians, and we still got people living in tents.
Yeah,
but all that money that's supposed to come here and help the American people out are paying for hotel rooms up in New York City. It's
100%.
Crazy.
It is crazy. And also, remember, audience, when 9/11 happened, every single one of you had an American flag on your car begging for us to go whoop their ass. So then we go. We did that for you. We did that for our families, for all of you guys. Now we need you to do something for us. And it's
and here's what's
easy
to do this for us than it was for what we did for you. So that's all we need.
But these and again, it's a self-licking ice cream cone. The budget's right there within the defense budget. They just got to readjust the money. But here's the thing that gets me: those over 700,000 civilians that work for the Department of Defense. They got no complaints if we doged or gave 8,000 of them a pink slip to take care of people who actually serve. I mean, that's just ridiculous, because we have to remember we have a volunteer force. And when I would go up to the Pentagon and I would argue this or argue that, and I was going after material things like something near and dear to your heart, Robert. I was the guy who did the switch barrel sniper rifle, what they call the MRAT now, right?
Yeah.
I'm up there fighting for a bolt action rifle, and they're saying, well, this and well that. I was like, we have a volunteer force. You can't go and draft these kids anymore. You got to have something that incentivizes these kids to join the military. And if we don't take care of this, if we put this word out just on recruiting command alone, if we tell these guys, hey, you get hurt and you're under 20 years, they're not going to take care of you. That's going to hurt recruitment right there. So we have to fix this. We have to fix this. We have a volunteer force, and there's nothing like it. And you both of you guys were there. You know what I'm talking about. I knew that if I got hurt, or I assumed that I would be well taken care of, and when I got home, that my bills would be paid and things like that. That's not true. That's not true if you don't have 20 years of service, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And
Hey, boom! You're gonna get contacted by a lady named Jessica. Take that call for two reasons. Number one, it might get you a job, and then number two, they're going to help with this.
Thank you so much. Another important thing to say when Larosa was talking about keep all your paperwork, make paperwork, because one thing that happens, especially in infantry units and special forces units and stuff like that, we're looked at like we're weak if we go to the clinic or the hospital or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
sick call
ranger
profile, and in the military we call it the broke dick, but anyways,
profile.
But anyways, so a lot of dudes won't go, or they'll go there and the doctor will just be like, here, take some ibuprofen, and you go right back out. Listen, if you are hurt,
yes,
and not injured, but even hurt, just go in, get checked out, get a line of duty, an LOD, and keep that paperwork, because no matter how bad you're hurt, if you don't have a line of duty, you will not get your disability for that. They'll be like, it happened at home or outside the Army or something like that. So It's very important. I know you don't want to look like a sissy or whatever, but you'll wish you had when you get out, because it's very, very, very important. You hurt yourself training for this country or fighting for this country, you need to be taken care of. So don't worry about what your buddies say. They're going to give you shit no matter what you do, whether you go to the clinic or not. So go to the clinic, get yourself looked at, get those line of duties, keep a copy yourself, and that way you'll be prepared when you get out to be able to get your disability and retirement, stuff like that.
No, you made a good point. You made a real good point, because a lot of active component, Marine, Navy, Army, Air Force, they don't know that they're entitled to their separation medical evaluation before they get out. Even if they're going to retire or separate, they're entitled to that, because that's going to assist them with benefits if they injured their spine, their neck, if they got ulcers, if they got cancer while they're in the service. That end of tour, that separation evaluation at medical or retirement medical evaluation. If you don't get it taken care of before you get out, there's no turning back from there. The VA is only going to go off of the last paperwork that you have in the service.
100%.
And maybe I didn't. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
I was going to say there's a very good point been made here that I think should be taken up at recruitment, but I bet you they wouldn't want to make this a point in recruitment. Or as soon as you enter, like, it should be stressed to these soldiers, airmen, Marines, sailors, whatever. Start keeping your paperwork. Document everything you do. Like, that should be ingrained in them, number one, to do that. Because like you're saying, the service isn't necessarily going to do it for you. And when you're young and you're in the service and you're thinking, I don't want to keep these papers for years. Well, we live in a digital world now. You can scan those things and you don't have to keep those papers for years. But you need that documentation. And they should be taught and trained, or at least encouraged, to create that paper trail for themselves.
Let's remember something. The Richard Starr Act, this is for people who went to combat, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
There are a lot of kids, including my neighbor, Troy. We all know him. Troy has been diagnosed with degenerative disc disease of the back. The Army claims, well, that's inherited. Well, the Army doesn't have the DNA of your parents. Don't tell me that these kids running around in infantry carrying 90-pound rucksacks and wearing body armor and stuff like that, don't tell me that they have degenerative disc disorder from inheritance. That's called beating you down. When these kids volunteer, they get beat down, right? And I'm writing a letter. I'm writing a letter for my best buddy, and he was on the podcast when I was traveling through last year. Jeff Matt, he was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne. He broke his leg on a jump in Fort Campbell that we did, and I got to write a letter for him. So, and just to show the VA that, I witnessed him breaking his leg on the jump. They made him walk back to the plane to go back to Fort Bragg before they ever set his leg, and they said it wrong. And like I was saying,
oh fuck,
he he didn't want to look like a sissy or anything, so he never got back and got it wrong. But now 40 years later, he's about ready to lose that leg. He's been laid up for 6 months. So if you don't have the paperwork, there are ways, and I'm sure Larosa knows about.
You can do buddy letters.
I actually had to do that too with my cat. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's just a point to make, like to encourage. If you're serving now, try to claw back all that stuff you can, and definitely start creating it. But anybody who's thinking about going in, if you've got young people in your family that are thinking about going in, sit down and talk to them about it. Like, hey, look, document everything. And you got to create that record. They're not going to do it for you. You got to create it. They're going to have your service record, but it's never complete. They never are. I don't care what branch of service.
Here's the thing, too, Chris. I actually did have some sergeants that gave me the exact advice I just gave, but then your buddies start talking their shit to you, and you're like, I'm not going to sick call, and da-da-da-da. So, I'm telling you guys, like, just do it. Like I said, your buddies are going to shit talk you anyway. That's what we do in the military, whether you go to the clinic or not. So Just go, do what the doctor says to do, create that paperwork, because your military career is not going to last forever. And your buddies, as much as they love you, they're not going to pay your bills for you when you get out. So just take their bullshit and harassment and go. It's very, very, very important.
Yeah. And while I didn't serve for 15 or 16 years like you guys did, I spent more than that in industrial construction. And it's the same kind of community. We treat each other the same. We behave the same. And it's the same thing. I'm going to be the guy that picks 2 90-pound sticks of 4-inch galvanized ridges that puts them on my shoulders and then climbs 16 stories with them. That's stupid. I shouldn't be doing that. And I'm paying the price for that kind of dumb crap that I did back then now. You don't think about it when you're young. You don't think about it at the time because you're invincible.
And your buddies are going to talk shit if you don't.
And your buddies are going to talk shit if you don't.
You're going to have a...
And if you do and you get hurt, they're really going to talk shit to you. So you guys, just do it.
Yeah.
For sure. So, we don't think about that stuff, but that's a point that somebody should drive home to these guys.
Well, you've got to remember in the military and construction jobs and stuff, that's where the term toxic masculinity comes from,
Yeah.
You gotta be so masculine that you're poisoning yourself.
For sure.
Yes. And those around you.
Instead of sending our soldiers to these bullshit mandatory DEI classes every quarter or whatever, send them to a course to teach them this. We
don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I've never had one of those classes ever. I've had suicide, I've had all sorts of stuff, safety, but never one where, hey, if you're hurt, get to the clinic. Make sure you're keeping your LODs. This is very important. When you get out, if you don't have them, you're not going to get anything. So, why not institute that in the military? Something that's actually going to help the soldiers.
Yeah. I can remember sitting on the squad deck at Paris Island getting a class on how to press my uniform, even though I wasn't allowed to. This would have been much more valuable information to me than how to do that shit.
Did you last longer on Paris Island than you did Vancouver Island?
Fuck you, yes. No, never too soon. Never too soon.
Ring.
To the jugular. They don't bother me. I don't care because how long did you stay on Vancouver Island?
I'm not a man.
See, there we go. He's like, I'm not stupid. I stayed home where it was warm and dry, and there was no fucking wolves.
I go take your classes in North Carolina where there's no grizzly bears or wolves.
Or we go hang at Sage now where they give us belt feds. I mean, they're blanks, but they're still belt feds. Larosa, what kind of is there any other resource or any other groups that you're working with that are trying to enable or advocate for others that you want to point people to or that we could let folks know about?
The Wounded Warrior Project is awesome. The VFW, DAV, but the Wounded Warrior Project has been on top of this since the get-go, since 2019. Even as of 3 weeks ago, they were in Congress and they were pushing this. They were pushing this matter. Wounded Warrior Project helped me through my process. They helped. I mean, they were fantastic. They were great, and they've been advocating for veterans ever since they became the Wounded Warrior Project, and ever since their Major Richard Starr Act came on board in 2019. They've been pushing for it, and they're the ones that have kept it in the limelight. They've actually been forcing them. Hey, we haven't forgot about this.
Good.
So I give it up. I tip my hat to
Right.
the Wounded Warrior Project. They've been so awesome with this.
And not just that, the Wounded Warrior Project. If you're a veteran and you sign up with them, if you're having problems with PTSD and stuff like that, they have weekend excursions with groups of other people that they'll send you to for free. And they are awesome organization. And I know they had their little trouble way back, but they straightened that all out, and they are fantastic, and they do so much for veterans.
And I am going to say one thing, and this goes to all veterans. Get help. When you get back, if you went overseas, you were in combat, you saw something, get help. Don't push it back. Don't think that you don't need it. Because I was one of those. I got back. It took me 5 years, 4.5 to 5 years to get help. Because I thought that I don't need help. I'm great. And it took me a while. I went through a lot. I got divorced. And I wish I would have got help earlier. Use the VA. The VA is there for you. Use the VA. No matter what, force them. Kick and scream. Use the VA. Use your benefits. They're there to help you. That's their main job.
And the VA actually has some social programs. You can learn to play guitar. You can do all sorts of stuff. It's not just a medical facility. They do a lot of absolutely wonderful things. I'm not going to pick on them for being slow and doing disability stuff for people or whatever, but they do a lot of amazing things also. So I don't just want to be down on the VA.
Or even
there's another good one too, right there.
When I learned about the VA, and it took me forever to go to the VA, and of course, I had to do I had an aneurysm in my head, and everybody remembers when I had to go through that. But I like going to the VA hospital just to hang out with people that, I look at them and you're amongst your own. I don't care if they're in the Navy or if they're in the Air Force. Well, the Marines and Navy guys and the Army, we were all in the military. Then we let
you better say Coast Guard.
Yeah, and the Coast Guard.
You want to hear something funny? So
Space Force.
I had a neighbor.
Military hobbyists.
I had a neighbor 2 houses down from me, Jason. Amazing dude. And he was in the Coast Guard, and he spent like 32 years, I think. And he comes to me and he says, "Hey, listen, man, I'm going to retire, and I would really be honored if you come to my retirement." And I was like, "Absolutely, brother. I'll be there." So I go there, and he's up on the stage, and he starts talking. He starts to cry and all that stuff. And when he walks off, I give him a hug, and he's like, "Man, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to cry." And I said, "Don't worry, dude. I cried too at my retirement, and I'm a real soldier." And so he sends me a picture of the Coast Guard guy on top of the submarine saying,
I remember that video. That guy was hard. You got to give him credit. So the Coast Guard's got one hard guy. We know that. They got one hard badass in there. I mean, it is the Coast Guard.
Also for veterans,
and
also
while
an amazing thing for veterans out there, if you don't know about it, go to vettix.org and you sign up for that. And every day you'll get emails of free concerts and free baseball games and all sorts of stuff in your area. And you can take up to like 3 or 4 people. And then they'll either have they might have a concert where it's $10 for a ticket for you instead of $80 or something like that. So it's Vettix, it's vettix.org. And you just sign up on there. You can do it through your ID Me or whatever. And you get free tickets sent to your email every day. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, and Robert, we gotta really keep on pounding on these vets to use those advantages like Larosa's talking about.
Yeah, all of them.
People, it's like going to sick call in the military. You feel like you're being a slacker, or if I use those benefits. I mean, when people say, "Hey, thank you for your service," I look right back at them and say, "Hey, thanks for paying your taxes. I had a blast."
I'm taking that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, but you just you almost, a lot of people, I think, just like when you're active duty and I should go to sick call, when you're offered these things, these VA benefits, you're offered this stuff not as a free gift or anything. It's what you've earned.
For sure.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They just like, well, I don't really need it, or I shouldn't do that, or I'm not going to do that because I'm too tough.
Yeah, or they feel embarrassed or
I can
ashamed.
handle this on my own. It's not about that. It's about getting around people that you feel comfortable around. I mean, come on, we all got to, we all pushed each other, push the porta potties over when you're over there in Iraq, and we played ass clown games all the time, and it's good to get around those same kind of people with the same mentality. Because I've been retired now, going on 10 years, and I don't miss the circus one bit. I do not miss, but I sure miss all the clowns that I hung around with.
So much.
Yeah. I was gonna say you don't miss the circus, but you sure miss the monkeys.
And it's take advantage. It's funny because when I was married, whenever we left the house, my wife would always say, "Do you have your military discount card?" Meaning my ID. Because everywhere we went, she'd be like, "You got a military discount? Hey, honey." so yeah, take advantage. You definitely earned it, and especially with like the Wounded Warrior projects when they do the retreats and stuff. I literally today I was driving Uber and I had a Navy guy get in and I was wearing my hat and he was like, "Thanks for your service. I was in the Navy," and then we just start ass clowning around with each other. And when he starts to get
it's
out,
that camaraderie with the services, man. I love it. I love it.
I said, "Thank you so much for riding with me today, bro." I said, "I can't talk to regular people like this." So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah,
that's
get on
cool.
those retreats, get around those other dudes.
Cool.
That's another reason why I really loved SUT and Robin Sage and stuff, because I'm in civilian life all the time. And, you know me, I usually say what I want anyway, whether it hurts someone's feelings or not. That's just who I am. But
no filter, no filter.
Nice to be around people that laugh at my jokes. That's frightened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're not going to take it personal. They get it for what it is, and they're going to give it right back. 100%. And that's just how you cope and deal. That's when it sucks the worst is when the most of that shit's happening. It's when you're start grab assing when shit really sucks.
And then you learn to laugh about everything. Like it doesn't matter the subject.
Everything.
And, like it would freak people out if they heard the jokes we tell each other. But it's how it really would.
Oh yeah, I know. It would. It shocks some people.
Limits. Zero. Yeah.
No.
It's great to be around other people like that, and you can just cut free and be yourself and not worry about political correctness and all this kind of stuff. Because everything, if you can't laugh, like it's a joke. Like learn to laugh more, and you'll probably be happier in your civilian life too. So, don't take everything so seriously.
Yep. Yeah, don't take yourself so seriously, and don't take everything. I mean, we're all, in this world, Larosa, this is like the prepper kind of community. So that's the focus of a lot of what we do. But like I tell people all the time, we've got to remember to live for today, because we might need these fond memories one day. These might be what keeps us going at some point. So prepare for tomorrow, but live for today. And like Boom's saying, the more you can laugh at stuff, the more like my crews now I can say that because we got guys working in Texas right now. And I tell the guys that work for me, I'm like, conditions on the job are what we make them. This could be a miserable day at work, or this could be a great day at work. It's all up to us, Doesn't matter how shitty the work we're doing is. It's up to us what kind of day it is. And so even with the guys that work for me, I try to keep it light. I'm cutting jokes, doing the same shit. It's the same thing out there, because you can either have a great day or a bad day, and 99% of the time, it's up to you. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. And I guess that's the biggest thing to say. And
carrying
folks,
carrying 100-pound bag on your back with your bulletproof vest and everything else, you're wearing all this stuff. Laughing doesn't make it lighter, but it makes you feel better carrying it.
Nope.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you look around, every motherfucker around you is doing the same shit, and you're all just like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, but it takes
brutal.
one guy saying one joke, and everybody's laughing and picking up their step a little more, and raise your morale and motivation.
Yeah.
Like, listen, we're in the suck. We might as well laugh about it. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, we're in the suck. It is what it is. It's like me and Alan Kay. You mentioned Alan, and one of the things that we try to instill people like in survival and shit like that is, especially if you find yourself in a true survival situation, like it's you've got to be able to tell yourself real fast, this is my new reality, and I've got to deal with it. There's no sitting around and wishing I wasn't here and lamenting whatever. You've got to accept that this is the now, and I'm in the fucking now. So now how do I respond to it? And most people, if you could do that faster than others, you're going to be ahead of the game.
For sure.
Do it faster than others. Larosa, you got anything you want to leave folks with, man? I mean,
The main thing is
Sue's been running his mouth the whole night.
since I've known him in the Army, same way. Click on that QR code up on the top left. Please go ahead and sign the petition. Let your representative know. Let your senator know. Please push it on. We need to help these 54,000 vets, and it keeps climbing. You know, as more vets join and more vets get out, a lot of them have combat injuries, and those numbers keep going up. But it's still a drop in the bucket, right? So go ahead and click on that. Take a snapshot of it. Go on the site and let your representative know and let your congressman know. Also, if you want to know more about me and my show, I'm with the Lewis and Dennis show. Go ahead and go down in the comments. You'll find a link on there, and you can see what we're all about. We're here to help everyone out. If there's anything you ever need, you can always reach out to me. You'll also probably find Rob's information on there. Reach out to us. We're here to advocate for veterans. Doesn't matter what it is, small or big, we're here for you. We're a community of friends, and we're a community of brothers.
That's it. That's the brotherhood, and it is a great big and dysfunctional and just distributed, but it is a big tribe. You know, veterans and active. They're all, they look at each other the same. You know, calm everyone down first. Yes, in a bad situation you do. So yeah, get involved. You know, please, guys, click the QR code and sign the petition if you have not. Just good. It's a little something. I'm going to be putting that out on X later this evening and talking about it too. We want to get as many eyeballs on this as we can. Try to get this thing a little bit of traction and get it moving. I've got a couple of vets that have some significant followings. I'm going to reach out to and be like, hey, man, can you give this a bump too? See if we can get some people talking about this. See if we get it trending even just for a little while on Twitter, because that gets attention. You know, on X, you know, you can get attention that way. So I'm going to work with some guys tomorrow and see if we can make a little noise and try to get it out there.
Awesome. So, great.
I just want to say,
no one's going to do it for us.
Hey to Eric Gatlin. I've known him since I was 17. He also served. He put laughter is the best medicine while we were talking over in the comment section. So what's up, Eric? Thanks for listening, brother. I love you, man. And yeah, man, Chris, I can't tell you how much this means to me. I'm also going to be on Larosa's podcast. I'm actually going to fly out to him and do it live with him. So whenever that's going to be, it will be the best podcast he ever had in his life. So,
you better fucking call me if you come to Florida, dude. You better fucking call me if you come to Florida, goddammit. I'll come down to Homestead and hang out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Larosa, I just got to ask you, do you even know who Sue is?
No.
You should Google
and
Sue
I
sometime.
will.
He's an American treasure that should be buried deep in a hole somewhere. But no, like Sue's a legit hero, fucker. He don't like it. He hates it, but he is. And it's only because of his level of insanity that he maintains at just below the threshold that he is who he is. But no, we love Sue because Sue's a badass.
I love how he gathered his numbers, and he was on point with his numbers. He should have worn his
green beret to match his shirt.
That would have been awesome. He looked like some African warlord.
I got a joke about that. The day, you work Robin Sage and everything, when those guys go back and get awarded their Green Beret, well, we didn't have that, back in my day, we didn't have those big ceremonies the kids do now, but they gave me my Green Beret, and I told the instructor, I said, hey, thanks, that's my third one. He goes, your third one? I said, yeah, when I was in the French Foreign Legion, we had a Green Beret when we weren't wearing that stupid white hat. We had a Green Beret that we worked in, but it was folded on the other side. And the other instructor standing next to him goes, what was your first Green Beret? And I said, oh, I was an ugly damn Girl Scout. I had to go to I had to go to Bangkok and get it added dick to me.
Yeah.
And handed it to me.
Yeah.
Rush.
Those cookies
Rush.
would be a hard sell, brother.
Boy, wouldn't that be? Holy shit. See Sue standing there, them green socks with those bleached white hairy legs and his little mini skirt on and his beret and sash. He'd look quite fetching.
There you go.
That's right. If you believe in it and fight for it.
Every day.
No, this is one of the better podcasts we've had for me, because I really appreciate what you guys do, and this is near and dear to my heart. And this kind of remotivates me. Chris has been on me for 3 years about writing a book. I've already got the title down. It's called "Sucks to Be Me," but this is exactly what you two went through. Is exactly how I felt in my active duty. I always tried to stand up for the guys, and I know I'm mean on these GS workers in the Department of Defense, but it's a volunteer force, and if we don't take care of the kids in uniform, and I don't care what their job did, or what they did, or what service they were in, we got to take care of the volunteers, right? Because they start out at the poverty level, they really go through a lot, and it being a volunteer force the way it is, it's very professional force. I mean, we just saw what happened last weekend. You can't do that without a professional force, or you get in and get out and stuff like that.
And they came from Missouri.
Yeah. I love every one of these kids that joined after 9/11, and I think we need to take care of them. So anything I can do to help you out, you guys let me know.
And Sue, I'd like to tell you, I always told people that were in ahead of me and served ahead of me and all that. Like when we were going through our hard times in Iraq, and we went through some really hard times, but every time we did, I would tell my men, think about those men that were ahead of us. Think about the Vietnam veterans, what they went through with the rot foot and all that. Think about the Korean veterans and World War II and World War I. And you guys are my heroes. Your older generation that's ahead of me, you led the way. You gave me the strength to keep moving forward when I thought I couldn't anymore. And you guys didn't quit on us. And when I was there, I wasn't going to quit on you. So I am only a representation of you guys ahead of me. And you gave me strength. You gave me honor. You gave me a sense of duty. I love you so much, man. It's such an honor to be able to spend this time with you. And just thank you, brother, for sure. I've really enjoyed it.
No, we're glad to have you guys on. And to be perfectly honest, everybody, this should have happened weeks ago. But I'm bad at reading text messages.
Yeah, right.
As a lot of you know. And and it wasn't just till I talked to Boom like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, no, I didn't see that. And when he explained, I'm like, no, you're absolutely going to be on, and we arranged it as fast as we could. So honored to have you guys here.
Thank you for having me.
Number one, I appreciate you guys being here. It's awesome what you're doing, Larosa. Reaching out, you don't have to do this. You're doing this because you see a need, and probably like me, and I call it a character flaw. When I see need, I feel compelled to fill it. And that's what you're doing. You're seeing these vets in need, and you're feeling compelled to fill that need for them. And that's awesome, because somebody's got to help them out. And so we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we're going to do everything we can to help push this thing. So everybody, like, I'm going to put a link out for this petition on Facebook, on my Facebook page here in just a little bit. Everybody needs to share that out on your Facebook page. Everybody, just share it out. Let's just drive people to get them to sign this thing. Let's get it out as far as we can. If everybody shares it, everybody
was saying, $14,000 can really make $14,000 a year can make a hell of a lot of difference for
Change
somebody
your life.
Who's going through a lot of.
Yeah,
and it's not a lot of money. It's really not. Think about what we pay for a new pickup truck nowadays. That's $14,000. Not a lot of money.
Think about the people.
It makes a hell of a difference for these guys who don't have a full retirement to go on.
It could feed your family. I mean, you
literally feed your family. Yeah. All right.
Cool, brother.
Well, everybody, thanks for hanging
Man,
out
I
with us.
love you so much, brother. I love all of you. I miss you, man. Miss everybody. Like, I can't wait to see all of you. So, I think about you often, and I love you guys deeply. And thank you so much for always being there for me. Really, you both have just been there for me time and time again. Never failed me. And I'm here for you. Anything ever you need, I'm your guy, brother. If I have it, it's yours.
Hey, is Meads at home?
He is. You want to see him real quick?
Drag his ass in. Yeah, drag his ass in here. I got to talk to
Yeah,
Meads
he's
real
getting
quick.
his
The
US
story-
citizenship.
I know. The story behind this kid is incredible to
Yes,
begin
it
with.
is.
But this is he's an immigrant. This is Boom's adoptive son. He's an immigrant who's legally attaining citizenship next month. I'm gonna try to be there. Me and Mel want to try to be there for
He
meets.
snuck out.
But we can't be in there. Did he?
Yeah, he's
Little
all good.
bastard. We're gonna give him some shit. He's a great
Yes,
kid,
he is.
though.
Yes,
and I
he
just
is.
want to say hi to him, man. I just want to say hi to him. So again, thanks everybody for coming on. Thanks everybody for who's already signed the petition, and those of you who haven't, what's your excuse? Get out there and get her done. You guys know the drill. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. We do have a Patreon next week on Tuesday, so we'll be there as well. And there's also, I'm starting to get a little more stuff out on Patreon. For those of you that haven't been there in a while, you might want to go check it out. I'm tracking some stuff in Africa that no one else is looking at. Some major things in Africa that are going to have some profound effects on the prices of metals, gold and silver, even diamonds, too. Is about to be impacted because of what's happening in Africa. So if you're curious about that, go check out the Patreon page. There's a pretty long article on there to catch everybody up to speed.
Don't buy any farmland.
Don't buy
any
what?
farmland in Africa.
No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm good on that. I'm not going. No, I'm not going. I do some stuff to support some community security guys in South Africa. Met him on Twitter, and we've done some things to assist them, getting them some equipment they needed, raise a little bit of funds for them and stuff like that, because South Africa is about to, they're in the beginning stages of a genocide, but they're about to see a real one, unless the Boers can get safe haven here, which, oddly enough, the liberals do not like white refugees. It's crazy. So, anyway.
Elon Musk from South Africa. He's a
Well, that's why they
Yeah.
don't like white refugees.
That's why they don't like South Africa. That is
my
exactly
heart,
why.
all of you.
Yeah, I know. And on that note, guys, we'll catch y'all next week. Be good or be good at it. If you can't be good at it, at least be
Love
good.
y'all.